So the movie I recommended, Josh, was I feel a very often overlooked Nicholas Winding Refn movie, because everyone always talks about Drive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, fucking Bronson.
For
That's
real.
where it's at.
For real. I'd go on record as saying this is probably, next to playing Bane, one of, Tom Hardy's best performances of all time.
Yeah.
I'd say this is his number one. His range of just sheerly playing a chaotic madman, Oscar worthy, without a doubt. Without a doubt. This movie was just like this unstoppable force, and he was just crazy, man. The whole aesthetic of it was just, it was like Tarantino, Wes Anderson, and like any other art, like sprinkled in with two like art house producers. Maybe you throw Harmony Korine in there and someone from the 80s, and that's what you have with this. Like,
exactly.
It's just genius. Like, you don't see
it's
this
artsy,
kind of
it's
stuff.
trashy, it's masterful.
It hits all the notes, man. It makes you feel sad, but it mainly makes you laugh and just go, wow, this dude's crazy.
I heard it described one time as what's it fucking called? Clockwork Orange with muscles.
Yeah, well said.
Basically.
Well said. Whoever said that was definitely on point. I loved every single aspect of it. How it was shot. It had like creativity behind it. Like, the set deck behind it. People who were, doing those locations and the filming of it, I think that's what just made it perfect, because the cinematography, the decoration, the production design, everything was just working together in perfect harmony in that. Yeah. Beautiful work.
I guess let's really quick summarize. So Bronson is the true, somewhat, they kept it mostly
based off of a true story.
Based on a true story, and from what I understand, it's almost one-to-one, with the exception of like maybe changing like his relationship with his dad, I think that was the only thing they changed.
But I just watched the film.
But yeah, it's so Charlie Bronson is notorious as Britain's most violent prisoner, and it's basically just his life from like his like early years to like now. And I think to this day he's even still in prison, which is hilarious because he just keeps on fucking up.
Can you imagine him like being out in the streets just like that? Like he just back alley like fighting like two people all the time, and like it wasn't just that. Like, after a fight he'd pee on people sometimes. Like, and he'd have a big shit-eating grin on his face with that creepy mustache and everything. And Tom Hardy, I have this thing where I say I feel like he played that actor, like that role, a little too well. Yeah. That was a little too natural for him. You know what I mean? Like, I could see Tom Hardy when he's not acting, like beating the shit out of people in back alley. Yeah, and pissing on someone. I could totally see it. He's insane. Like the whole thing where he gets locked up in the loony bin, and one of my favorite scenes that we were discussing earlier, before, when he's sitting in there and he's got the straitjacket on, and all the guards are coming in, and they're like, "Hey, Bronson, we got a fucking problem here," and like they're all just crowding around him, and there's like probably 12 people, right? And they're like, "Hey, we got a problem," and he goes, "No, not at all," and he just takes out a club and just starts beating the shit out of people, like taking on 12 dudes. And he's like gonna lose that fight, but he's still just trying to get in as many hits as he can.
Exactly. It's just, it's so like it's such a weird character study when you get down to it. It's just like, but it doesn't say anything about his character. It's just like, hey, look at what he did. Isn't that fucked up? Yeah. Like any other character study would be like, man, I wonder why he does this. Like, let's get inside his head. What happened during his childhood years that made him like this? But like I said, the whole movie is just like, look how fucked up this guy is. Isn't this funny? Like,
yeah, he's humorous. It's to the point where like, people could just be like, are you serious? Like, he really held a librarian like again, like that way. Like when he's running around naked, like, after he's painted himself and he's like just sheerly crazy. He has the librarian. He goes, "Oh, don't you do anything crazy. I have a librarian up here, and he's in a lot of trouble." And I'm like, "What? Like, that's your hostage approach? Like, this dude's crazy."
Exactly. And it's like, and it really says something about him too. Is that like he wants to cause trouble, but like he has his principles too. Yeah. Where like he takes the guy hostage, and he's like, "Just sit on the fucking chair," and then he sits down, and then 2 seconds later he's like, yeah, kids. And it's just like, it's such a quick switch. Like, he's just like, it doesn't mean, like, he doesn't mean any of what he says. It's all literally for attention and just so he can beat the shit out of people. That's all he cares about.
And you know,
it's so funny.
When he gets his vocabulary, just like how he delivers his words. Oh, you fucking cunts! Oh, shut your fucking mouth! Like, oh my god, this dude was just. I can't imagine. How about when he's in the watch shop?
Oh my god, I love that.
Or whatever the hell he was buying.
It was a ring for like that girl that he liked.
Yeah. And he smashes the dude's face in, and he goes, "Shut the fuck up! You're not gonna call the fucking cops. Wait until I leave. 10 minutes, preferably. Thank you." And just like you know,
comes back and is like 15 minutes.
Yeah, like, just ridiculousness, man. Like, and like. I think it's a real, but here's the real thing that's just amazing about it is Tom Hardy delivered. He delivered that role so well. He was so convincing. He was so believable. You know, the bald madman where, you know, he's the intermissing editing between him narrating his story and everything, where he has like his face painted. And it's just like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like,
exactly.
You know, I had to make sure I wasn't like tripping on acid or something a few times when I was watching this. Like all the 80s references that you know, all the 80s like synth pop that was going on, and it was a great movie, man. I can say that I'd probably watch it again just because there's things I missed. True genius. I'd really love to meet the actual Charlie Bronson someday, like if that's at all possible, just to meet true craziness.
There is a petition out there to get him released, because he's like,
really,
because the whole art thing is like true to it. Like he goes by Charlie Salvador now, because he like really likes Salvador Dali, and like you can buy his paintings and shit online, and there's a petition to get him. It was hilarious too, because like recently, like within the past like 2 years or so. He went back to court while he's already in jail because like some prison official says that he like got like roughed up really bad, but like it was proven that the prison guy was lying, and Bronson on the stand was like, "I've done a lot of fucked up things in my life, but I did not do that," and they fucking like believe him. Like he's such a unique guy. But I mean, I guess we can get into spoilers a little bit. But,
man.
Well, yeah, we said with the painting, like, what do you think about the ending? Because, like, I was hoping that there was going to be maybe a little bit of a chance that he can go back out into the world, and they quell that.
I was hoping, to be honest with you, I was kind of hoping he was going to be, like, still on the run. You know what I mean? I hope I really wanted to see him not get caught. I wanted to see him still being out. Like, I wanted him to be like Batman, pretty much. Like, still beating the shit out of people in the streets, after, the bars closed. Like,
exactly.
I genuinely wanted that to be a real thing, because he's truly uncontrollable, but like he's not gonna do anything that really damages.
He has
anything.
His like he says he's like I wasn't bad. I had standards. Like and as fucked up as they are, like he does take the guy hostage, but he doesn't beat him up. He just screams at him a little bit and lets him on his way.
That's it. He really yells at him loudly. But the other thing is when they're all in like the loony bin and they're all drugged up, and the one guy who he just strangles. He gets up and he just starts twisting, and he looks around and he's holding this guy. I'm like, holy shit.
And then they drag him away, and he's got like the Nixon.
Yeah, he's doing the Nixon peace signs going, and I'm like, that is amazing, man. That's great. It's just such a good movie.
I
want to know who the genius was whoever they said was hit the Nixon when you leave there, Tom. All right, we're gonna do that take again. Ready? Roll camera.
And he's
Nixon.
just like no reaction at all. It's amazing.
Just lifeless, but like.
It's all just so he can get back in prison. It's just he's like prison. Like, I don't think he says like prison is where everything made sense.
Yeah,
he's just like he says I liked it personally. No, fuck that. I loved it. Like that's my favorite line in the movie is when he's talking about just how much it made sense. That whole montage from when it shows all the newspaper headlines and he's like talking about like the different prisons and like the pros and cons of like
and how he likes being able to fight there and they have good food. Like he's comparing them like hotels. I'm like, this dude's crazy. Never have to worry about paying rent, like the guy makes valid points.
They got all
time.
the amenities I need. It's like you got a good bed, a toilet, a sink,
food,
what
and
else
you can fight all the time. And I remember when they kept drugging him and like, when they would come in and they shot him with the needle up in his ass and they had him like hogtied like that. And like,
oh, you fucking cunts.
Like just, twitching out, man. That was so funny just to see him. Like nothing fazed him, man.
Yeah.
Nothing ever got to that guy. He was just demented.
Right.
He out crazied crazy, man. Like that in itself is an accomplishment. That I don't know, man. That just the fact that he's a real person. Can you imagine, like, just seeing that? Like,
yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, but, like, I mean, obviously, like, Tom Hardy does the whole thing where it's like, I'm going to sit down with you and, like, talk to you about your life.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, like, how else do you, like, even attempt to get inside that guy's head? And, I mean, like, if he ever gets out, that's not someone you want to do a bad portrayal of, because he'll remember it and he'll come after you.
Yeah,
like,
and Tom Hardy's
like...
Could you imagine that square off the actual Bronson versus Tom Hardy? Like...
Tom Hardy has probably pissed himself.
Yeah,
but, it's because I said before we recorded there's a tape of where they asked him a bunch of things about the movie. Well, at first he was like, before the movie came out, he was like, oh man, it's probably gonna suck. I'm gonna hate it. And then his mom was like, no, Charlie, it's a good movie. You'll like it. They do you justice. And he's like, oh well, if my mom likes it, it must be a good movie. Which like, side tangent, but like, how do you beat like yeah, my son is Charlie Bronson. Like, how do you like take ownership of? I mean, they're long dead, but like, I would have like it'd been so weird, such a weird dynamic.
Oh my goodness. I mean, yeah, like, I mean, I guess there kind of just comes a point when he's done so much where you kind of can't really deny it. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be someone who knew that he was related. You know what I mean? People talk.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
at that point, do you just like does the embarrassment get over and you're just proud? Like, yeah, my son caused $10 million worth of damage to this prison during a riot. Like,
he's such a good boy. We always knew for big things,
All my life, I wanted to be famous.
We knew. I think the bare essential of when I knew that this dude was just nuts is like you said, when he goes down and he lists off the hotel, like the prisons at like their hotels, man. Like, oh, great food here, great.
As
blokes,
he's like spitting blood onto the eggs that they pass him under the door. Where he's like, yeah, I don't like this place, but the staff really make it a memorable experience as they like beat the shit out of him with the fucking batons, and he's like got a ball gag or some shit in his mouth because he's gonna bite him. Like, oh my god,
he's dude. I don't know, man. It spoke to me poetically sometimes too, because just being a madman like that, dude, like,
yeah,
there's some like glamour because no one can fuck with you when you're that level of crazy, Like,
exactly.
You're just demented at that point. But
there is kind of like a weird like sadness to the movie too. Did you find that at all? Like, there is a part of you, I feel like, we touched on it a little bit, but like, there's part of me where I was like you said, I want to see him do well. I want to see him be like the Batman of Great Britain.
Man.
So there's like that weird kind of dynamic, but it makes sense. I mean, obviously they have to do what's like true to life, but
but I think the sad thing about it is like, everyone knew that this dude was like nuts. Like, there was no denying that. Like, he was known as a madman. They would be like, Bronson, the madman. Like, they knew he was crazy, but I think the real sad thing is like, going into this whole discussion about, the Joker and how it brought like, mental health issues into the light. Back then, man, they didn't know how to take care of people like that. You know what I mean? It really just, kind of makes you go, hey, gee, I wonder what would have happened if like we could have helped this guy, you know, like,
right, yeah.
I wonder, like, you know,
like that art teacher who's trying to like rehabilitate him, and he's like, this is gonna be your break, and then like just right back to
snaps
his old
in
ways.
and loses his mind, and you know, paints himself and like looks absolutely terrifying.
Yeah,
you know, it sucks because you know, I guess you could say he has enormous potential. Mm-hmm. And to think that, you know, society kind of failed someone like that, because clearly he couldn't help himself, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I just would have liked to have seen him be a little bit more successful, I guess. You know, he meant well. I don't know if that,
whatever
like,
the hell that means.
Yeah, like whatever that meant. Like he didn't, you know, purposely kill everyone he saw. There was like reasoning and rationale.
That's even said too. Like he says, he's like, I've been in jail 30 years. I never killed anyone.
Yeah.
Like, and when you look down at it, like he goes to jail the first time because he stole like $20 from a post office at gunpoint, and then the whole rest of the time he's in jail is just because he keeps on beating the shit out of all the guards.
Yeah, and he
like,
loves
that's
it.
All he's
it's
done.
Competition. He talks about. He literally says it's competition for him.
Yeah.
And they hold him, and he's like, "Oh yeah," you know, he gets his jollies off of it, dude. Like, blows my mind, man. That like that level of crazy's out there.
Yeah, and it's so fascinating to watch, and I mean, like, again, it just frustrates me that, like, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, Drive is a good movie, like, great.
Yeah, dude.
But there's something
no
like
denying that.
Exactly, but like it just sucks that like this one is so overshadowed by that. You know what I mean? And I mean, like, you get that with every director where it's like that's
a film
the one
buff kind of film, man. Like,
yeah.
To the average consumer, you're not really going to be appealing to someone who likes those big summer blockbuster movies with that. That's someone who appreciates movies and appreciates a good story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not for the typical moviegoer who, you know, family movie night at the cinema. Mm-hmm. That's a hidden gem.
I hope that
man.
you're not taking your family to go see Bronson and feel like,
yeah, man,
that's a hell of a
20 years from now.
I can imagine being like a 6-year-old kid and be like, "Oh, you fucking cunts!" Like,
yeah, where do you learn that word? Shit.
My personal hero, Charlie Bronson.
Yeah, who's your hero? Josh, you know, your son wrote about Charlie Bronson. How the hell does he know who that is? I don't know.
But yeah,
YouTube.
It's such it's a great movie. I'm really glad you liked it.
Yeah, man. Great recommendation.
More people need to be talking about it.
Definitely, dude.